Hey, J-Bro's popping in here. Yeah, I had got an individual ask me about my bucket size. Well, I figured I had never really actually put my small bucket that came with the mini skid next to the bucket I pretty much use 95% of the time. I rarely ever use a small bucket unless maybe I'm digging something or let's say lifting high, because you can just see how much more material I can move with the big bucket versus small bucket. The one thing I'll just say right off the bat, and obviously I've stated this many times before, the one biggest drawback to using this big bucket is very simple: how much strain it puts on all your parts. As far as your cross braces here, which I've mentioned many times in my videos, I put that cross brace in, I put that cross brace in, I put straps down here on that bar, and then most recently I put ties right down in here, so you can kind of see how those are in there. So all that stuff has been welded up and rebraced. But that's the downfall of the big bucket. The upsides of having the big bucket obviously destroy any complications I've had with having to weld and fix the other things. But I'll just give you a quick measurement on the original bucket, and I'll measure out the big bucket as well. I remember this bucket being 31 inches, and that's really stupid. Okay, it's 32. And that's really stupid because the width of the machine, I want to say it's 42 inches. Why they designed it like that? Yeah, 41 inches. Why they decided to do that? I mean, at minimum, they should have put a 42-inch bucket on here. Because, like, even if you had a 42-inch bucket, let's say just with this height, that would be better. But even still, the narrowest I think you'd honestly want a bucket, if you've had access to a 4-in-1 bucket, I should have probably had that up next to these. Maybe I'll just do another video with the 4-in-1 bucket beside. I would say like right here, as far as back dragging, that width would be good. But anyway, sorry I got off point. 31 inches wide, or 32 inches wide, excuse me. Height of this bucket, we're looking at 14 inches, and then depth of the bucket is 2 feet. And then obviously my bucket here, this is 4 foot wide there, and then I think it's 3 feet deep because I've measured this so many darn times. Yep, 3 feet, oops, 3 feet deep right there, and then I think it's 18 inches tall or 19 inches tall. I've measured this so many times I've get, oh no, 22 inches tall. But anyway, and then of course, I had them weld this on here for hooking and pulling on this stuff, because originally I had hooked a chain on this thinking I could pull stuff on here. Nah, this is such thin metal, it just bent that to beat heck. But what is kind of funny, because I operate with the big bucket so darn much, when you throw this little bucket on here, this machine destroys anything that's in this bucket. Like, it can just totally lift everything so easy, and that's what I just love about this machine. And I keep mentioning it as well, I overwork this machine all the time, and the sheer fact that really nothing major has went wrong is just awesome. I would put a testament to the sheer maintenance that I'm always staying on top of my oil changes. I'm staying on top of my blowing out my filters, hydraulic checks, whatever it may be. I just stay on top of it. I stay on keep my machine clean, the track area clean, stay on top of keeping my track tight. I just wanted to update too. This is 80 hours now with my Fortis HD track. I don't remember the last time I did an update on that, but this track has absolutely been amazing. I know I've said that multiple times, but it's worth every penny. The other thing I was going to mention as well is when I did that fan reversal mode, I had the fan on the inside, I turn that to blow out. And I can link that other video down below. But blowing out is way, way better, so it doesn't put all that dust in my machine. But I could follow up on that at a later date. But that's working amazing because I was running the machine again today, and I'm like, why did I wait so long to not reverse that fan so it blows out? And I'm talking about the fan I added on the side, not the one here. The one on the radiator, I still have that blowing out as well. Yeah, but other than that, I think everything's been going good. But, you know, just to reiterate, this bucket, you know, like I say, with the counterweights and how I got this machine set up, I'm literally putting 3 buckets of material in here every time to move stuff around. And even though the machine drives, let's just say, a little bit slower, I don't care, because you're not really trying to race to get across a property. And if you are, you're probably in a fast-paced business atmosphere, and you're probably going to have a bigger mini skid to do that type of stuff anyway. And I know another gentleman, he was mentioning just about the CRT. And I just wanted to reiterate why I always keep saying this is the best mini skid out here for the bang for the buck. And he had commented, he's like, well, yeah, after I have done all these, let's say, upgrades or tweakings like grinding idlers, you know, extra bracing I've welded on, okay, throttle cable went bad. To me, all that stuff is why you get the machine as cheap as it is. It doesn't mean that the overall shell and design of the unit is not absolutely amazing. What you're end up doing is you're replacing some of the cheaper or faulty areas of the rig. But the overall shell, I would say 90% of the rig is built great. It's just, you know, 5-10% of the operation stuff's just a little bit cheaper, but hence the reason a guy gets a good deal on it. But like I said, there's no way I could even imagine not having this bucket or even dream of going back to the smaller bucket, because it's too inefficient. For grading purposes, this grades so much better. Like I said, this would be just strictly simply for maybe digging out some bushes, getting your bucket in a tight spot. Maybe you're lifting, loading, and you want to be super safe as far as not having to tip forward, because you're not going to tip forward with any amount of weight you try to put into this little bucket, because you're going to be so close to your machine and whatnot. So yeah, anyway, I hope that helps on my bucket size. Like I said, I had mine custom made for me. Would I have it in an ideal scenario? Would I have it this big? Honestly, I would say, if to be the perfect size, I would say if this bucket was 44 inches wide, now I'm talking in a perfect world, 44 inches wide, so it definitely clears my track, because that's a big deal. If you don't have a bucket that clears your tracks, that's more likely to have material fall into your track, and then more likely for rocks and stuff to get in there, and more likely for your track to come off and all sorts of stupid stuff. But let's just say it was 44 inches wide, but maybe 48's the smartest way to go. But with all that being said, I would like this back end to stay the same height, but I would say for actually what the machine can lift, if this bucket actually might honestly be to that depth where it sits right now, and I want to say this is probably like 28 inches. So if you go into my bay there, yeah, see, I'm about 2 feet in there. And what do we have this bucket at, we said? That's about 22 inches. I can't believe that's only 24 right there. Yeah, or excuse me, 26. So 26 inches instead of the 3 feet deep, because once you start putting material out on the far edge, it gets too dang heavy for the machine, and it doesn't really do its thing. But the nice thing about the length of the bucket, there's so many times when you're just reaching, and the bucket can reach out so much further, and it gives you that extra reach. So I guess, you know, in all reality, I don't know. I put so dang many hours with this bigger bucket. I couldn't imagine not having it. So I guess maybe this is just the right size of bucket, because it obviously destroys snow as well. So yeah, that's enough from me here, but that is the old bucket. This is my big bucket, and yeah, I absolutely love it, and we're gonna keep skidding and we're gonna keep destroying material. But that's who made my bucket, and of course we know that's a CRT23. J Bros out.